To understand about the different type of plane, first let us just open one of the libraries that I've created. Okay, so this is the most default library that would be created. Okay, so once you create the library, it would be something similar to this. So these both are the default planes. Okay, so once you create any particular library, you have two planes on both the ends, and then you have a path that is connecting these planes. Okay, so these both are the default planes, and then this is the default constraint path. So under work tree, if you go to entity, you can see that you have default constraint plane that is on the left side, and you have another default constraint plane on the right side, and then you have the default main constraint path. Okay, so this is the default constraint path. Next, we can create planes in between. Okay, so for that, over here under the curve library, we have this plane option. Okay, and currently the total length is 10 meters. So if you want to create a plane at 2 meters, let us enter the location as 2. And if you click on the apply button, okay, then you can see that they have defined a plane at a distance of 2 meters. Okay, so if you just click on this particular plane, and if you go to the properties, you can see that this is at a distance of 2 meters. Okay, reference point that would be from the starting point. Okay, and next, if you want to make a change to this particular plane, so if you just enter the value as 4, and if you click on apply, then the distance would be changed to 4 meters. Similarly, if you want to define another plane, and if you just enter the value as 7 meters, and if you just click on the apply button, then you have another plane that got created at a distance of 7 meters from the starting plane. Okay, and next is path. So if you want to create paths between these planes, for example, currently we have added one plane and we have added next plane. So currently we have added two additional planes. Now consider that you need to add a path between these two planes. Okay, so for that we can use the path option. So under the path option, first we need to select the constraint plane between which the path needs to be created. Okay, so if you just select these both plane, okay, and now you can see a preview of the path that is getting created over here. And now once you click on the apply button, then automatically a path is created between these two planes. Okay, so for understanding that, let us select the default constraint path and let us hide it. Okay, so once you hide that, you can see that a new path is created between these two planes. And if you just select this, okay, and if you go to the properties, you can see that this is a main constraint path. Okay, and over here under entity, you can see that under main constraint path, you have this new path. Okay, similarly, if you want to define another path between these two planes, you just need to select these two planes. Okay, so this is the preview of the path that will be created. And next, if you click on the blue plus, then a new path is created between these two planes. Okay, so next, if you want to create a path with an offset. Okay, so in such case, if consider that you want to create a path with an offset of 2 meters. So if you just select both of these plane, okay, and path distance y is along this direction. Okay, it is along this direction. So if you go to the top plane, okay, and if you just enter the value as 2, okay, so now you can see that at a distance of 2 meters from the center, you have a main constraint path that will be created. So let us just click on the blue plus. Okay, so now we have created a main constraint path with an offset of 2 meters, and consider that you need to create another path that is an offset of 2 meters along the z direction. Then just click on 0 and let us select both of these planes. Okay, and let us go to the front view. Okay, and now if you just give the value as 2 in the distance path z, that is along the z direction 2, and if you click on apply button, then you can see that along z direction we have created a new path. So basically these options can be used to create the plane and the path. So the major use of this plane and path is that if you want to define a particular member that is between these two planes, okay, so in such case you can define a path and then you can create a member between these two planes. So majorly, let us consider the example of a PSC eye girder in which you have different type of cross section along the length of eye girder, right? So in such cases, you can define different planes and then you can define the different path, and to each path you can assign the corresponding cross section. So that is the major use of these plane and path. So if you just go to another one curve library, you can see that you can define multiple planes similar to this. and then let us see a real case of how this can be used. So now this is a real case in which we have defined multiple planes, and then in between the planes we have defined the path, and to each path we have assigned a different cross section. So to this path we have assigned this cross section. If you go to the cross section, it is a pure rectangle. Okay, and if you go to this particular part, so this is a member that is assigned between this plane and this plane, and if you go to the cross section, then this is a eye girder section. So now using these options, you would be able to create such real life members according to our project requirement.